Ladies and gentlemen, very good day to you. It's Alexandru Bârcă here as usual, and today I want to approach a very interesting subject that I believe must be interesting for most of you, should you be an agent or a potential customer. Let's break it down in numbers. What's the difference between buying on the secondary market versus buying at the off-plan stage? To illustrate this better, I'll share with you my real-life scenario that I'm dealing with right now. And let's call my client for this instance John. John is a young professional, around 30 years old, who's been living in Dubai for a couple of years now. He's decided he wants to settle here long-term and invest his hard-earned money into his first asset in Dubai. The idea was to buy something for personal use. He had a deposit of roughly 2 million dirhams ready right now, and he told me to bear in mind that his cash flow is pretty strong. After hours of conversation, we narrowed it down to two options. The first one is for personal use, and the second one was a gift from my side. So if we look at the first scenario, we discuss about the one and only St. Regis Residences by Emaar that's located in downtown. A beautiful development under a legendary hotel chain located right next to Dubai Opera and in walking distance to Burj Khalifa and Dubai Mall. Spectacular project that is set for completion in December 2026. Scenario number 2, and here we discuss about the Grand Polo Club and Resort by Emaar, a very new master community that is coming to the market real soon. Strategically located close to Oasis, Al Maktoum International Airport and Expo City. This master plan is extremely attractive, especially since Emaar is launching their first ever project in this area. Now, as you can see, the two options couldn't be more different. In the first scenario, John is considering a one-bedroom, 895 square feet, incredible floor plan for one bedroom. And bear in mind, that's the best bathroom that I've seen in a while for a one-bedroom apartment. Nowadays, this unit is priced at roughly 2.6 million dirhams, and John would use it for personal living for 2-3 years, then rent it out. A very solid and long-term asset. In the second scenario, John would continue to have the freedom of choice year in, year out, so he would buy a 3-bedroom standalone villa, which I personally think will be priced at roughly 5 million dirhams in the Grand Polo Club and Resort. The idea is to wait until the handover, and then John can decide. Maybe he wants to live by himself in that spectacular villa. If not, he can rent it or sell it. The available deposit that he has right now doesn't have to be paid at once, and the cash flow will help him to execute this idea. Now that you have the context, let's discuss real numbers. At this moment in time, the St. Regis owners have paid 60% already, 5% due in May time, 5% in November, and 30% at handover in December 2026. For Grand Polo, we expect Emaar's usual payment plan, 80% during construction, paid in 10% installments twice a year, and 20% on completion, likely in the second half of 2029 to be confirmed soon. And now let's go to the cash flow over the years, 2025 to 2029. In 2025, John needs to put up roughly 2 million dirhams for St. Regis. For Polo at the same time, it's about 1.3, plus we add for both options 200,000 for the rent, because that's the rent John is using. In 2026, 720,000 for St. Regis versus 1.1 for Polo, plus obviously the rent for both. In 2027, John moves into St. Regis. No more rent to pay, but add on the service charge. Polo, still under construction, another 1.1 million plus the rent. 2028 and 2029 follow the exact similar logic. End of 2029, John would have spent roughly 3.2 million dirhams considering the service charge and all the installments for St. Regis and also the rent in the first 2 years. Should John go with the second scenario, we look at roughly 6 million dirhams, so the 5 mil villa plus 1 million paid in 5 years of rent. But here's the thing. By 2029, I see St. Regis easily reaching 4,000 dirhams per square foot. That's the current rate for Regis Residences Dubai Opera, and in my opinion, St. Regis is positioned above even that. So the one bedroom would probably be priced at 3.6 million dirhams by 2029 easily. What about Grand Polo? Look, every single Emaar community's initial launch has shown price growth of at least 63%. I went through all of them. And similar ready villas today trade at around 2,500, 2,600 dirhams per square foot. This takes us to 7.8, 7.9 million dirhams come completion date in 2029. Now I want to show you some numbers also about the profit that John would make in both scenarios. Scenario number one, roughly we look at 350,000 dirhams profit in a time frame of 4 to 5 years. And when we look at Grand Polo, we see a profit of 1.7, 1.8 million dirhams, even considering, again, the 1 million rent paid. Now, all of these numbers and statistics, they all bring us to probably one conclusion. If you want to buy off-plan, that's an extremely good way to use your cash flow wisely. Within a time frame of 4 to 5 years, should you be ready to wait, you can end up with a totally different asset in your portfolio, one you couldn't really even imagine 4 or 5 years ago. At the same time, in this particular situation, should John decide to go with St. Regis, I mean, that's an incredible asset. And over the years, it will generate a lot of rental yield. And also bear in mind this, it's an asset in the center of downtown. Should market go south, God forbid any economic crisis or corona, this property would lose the least value compared to the whole market. I thought this might be relevant to many of you, as when you do the math, numbers don't lie. However, in this situation, I believe both options are really solid. That's why it's quite different to make the right choice. I would like to hear from you in the comments. What would you choose if you were in John's shoes? To conclude, you have my credentials below. Text me on the WhatsApp. I'll be more than happy to assist you with any need. And I wish you all a pleasant day. On to the next time. Bye-bye.